Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Results.
Quick reminder, if you want to check us out and see what Josh is wearing today, you can go onto our YouTube page and find us on the YouTube channel, or you can go into the Stockwell Roche Show on Facebook, and you'll see videos there segmented out of all of our shows, past shows and this show, and any information on our guests and topics you'll see on there as well. And also wanted to give a shout out and just say Happy Easter to everybody.
Happy
out there
Easter,
as
everybody.
Well, so. We have Gloria Cade here. Very honored, grateful, happy to have you, Gloria, here. Gloria is in charge of hospice and palliative care.
Nice job.
Thank you. She is RN and MBA hospice and palliative care director at Allina Health. Now, clearly, I am not well versed in palliative care because I didn't know what never.
Well, it's hard to
the word
say,
palliative,
so I
but,
get it.
But I want to introduce Gloria and
Hi, Gloria.
say welcome.
Thank you so much.
And give us information about you, where you're from, what got you into it, and what you do, and what
are you a Minnesotan?
Palliative
What
means.
it is. All right. As you stated, I am an RN by background, and I've been in nursing for many, many years, probably well before you guys were born. But I began my career back in the late 70s in a small hospital in central Illinois. And early on, I had an affinity toward those people who were at the end of life. I felt comfortable having conversations with people who were in a dying situation or critical, complex kinds of care. And so I felt at that time that if ever I had the chance to work in the area of end of life, hospice specifically, I wanted to do that. And so about 28 years ago, my husband and I transferred here with his job. And I began searching for opportunities to work in hospice, finally landed in Allina Health. But some of my experience before that had been with people who I felt were being poked and prodded and treated for futile care till the very end of their life. And I just kept thinking, there has to be a better way to care for people. And hospice and palliative care is one of those ways to do that.
So I just want to say thank you for being a person that feels called or is able to
There's not a lot of people
that
that can do that, right?
That's kind of a touchy, end of life. It's not, it's just a tough road and a tough scenario. And if there's people out there like you that help and are there to help and actually care, and it's not taking advantage of you. You hear these stories of.
We hear them all the time.
Yeah, just elderly, whether it's just being burglarized or robbed or not being taken care of properly and all these things. But to have that, and you said early on you realized that you have a knack for that. What was
affinity?
Affinity, yeah.
Yeah, I just felt comfortable having the conversation to the point where people that I was working with would come to me and say, "Gloria, will you talk to this person? You seem to be able to do it better than I can." And I was always glad to do that. Also, I had some personal experiences. Before I was 30, my mother died. She had a brain hemorrhage. But she was on a ventilator for about 24 hours before we decided to discontinue that ventilator. She was brain dead. And we were in ICU in central Illinois. And knowing that I was a nurse, I had worked in ICU, I was comfortable caring for people and whatever, I had asked them if I could give my mother her last bath. And they wouldn't let me do that.
Really?
I was dismissed from the room. And I said, I'm a nurse, I'm not uncomfortable with tubes and all of that. But still, I wasn't allowed to do that.
Because of policy or something? Or
yeah, back in those days, if you were in ICU, the family had about 10 minutes to visit family members.
Wow.
And then during an hour, and then you were asked to leave. And it was just kind of felt like the care is too serious, there's too much going on that the family members would get in the way, so to speak. That has changed dramatically. Yeah. But in those days, that's the way it was, and I'll never forget that it could have been my opportunity to say goodbye in a meaningful way to my mother, and I wasn't allowed that opportunity.
Wow, that's sad. That is, and that's changed.
It has changed, yes.
Where you can Like at Alina in your guys' hospice. I mean, what
Yeah.
are give us some examples, maybe of some things where
Sure.
people can do if their mother or father or loved one is in.
Yeah. Well, we serve about 700 people a day in our hospice program.
Really? Oh.
And we serve them wherever they are. It could be their own personal home, assisted living, skilled nursing facilities, group homes, residential hospice facilities. We actually have 2 of our own hospice facilities. But we bring our care to them. It's nurses, home health aides, social workers, chaplains, bereavement specialists, volunteers, music and massage therapists. So dependent upon what those family members need or want, we're there to serve them. And most people will say to you that they want to be at home to die. They don't want to be in a hospital. It's great to be in a hospital when you need treatment and interventions or whatever. But if you're at the end of life, you want to be surrounded by familiar things, by friends and family, your pets.
Pictures, your pets.
Yeah, all of that kind of thing. And so that's why it's so important for us to be able to bring that to them.
So the palliative. What is the
What's the
so
difference?
It says hospice
Okay.
and palliative.
In 1983, Medicare provided for a benefit called the Medicare Hospice Benefit. And in the rules for that, a patient has to have a 6-month prognosis if their disease runs its natural course. For palliative care, it's further upstream, probably 2 to 3 years before someone dies. Chronic illnesses where you need pain and symptom control. You need help in identifying your goals of care. What kind of treatments do you want if you have some kind of a chronic disease? Congestive heart failure, COPD, diabetes, renal disease, all of those kinds of things. But actually, any time in the span of someone's life, if you have a serious illness and you need those kinds of interventions, palliative care can be helpful to that.
And palliative means is there
a comfort care, more or less.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's very. I would like someone like Gloria, just talking about Gloria right now, to help me if I'm in a situation like that, because clearly you offer the care, but it's not. But you just seem genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You are genuine in the fact that you want to help people and get through whatever.
It's terribly, I mean, not terribly, but it's wonderfully meaningful to be able to serve people. We sometimes talk about going into a patient's home as being a sacred space. It's your private space. And so to be invited into that environment is terribly meaningful for us. It's very special.
And so there's 700 people per day.
Wow.
That's our average daily census. We serve about 30 counties in Minnesota, three in western Wisconsin. We have teams in all of those different areas. That's our average daily census. We have 3 branch offices in Owatonna, New Ulm, and Hutchinson, Glencoe. Actually, Owatonna now is named Owatonna-Faribault. The Faribault program joined us. So, we have teams in all of those different areas.
That's just the weight on your shoulders, especially when you have family members, too, that are involved. And just I can just feel it right here in the studio right now when we're talking about it. How do you guys deal with that? I mean, I know they're probably just love that you guys are there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you see all kinds of things that go on with the family, with a member on the verge of passing away. How do you deal with that? I mean, that's remarkable to me. For
Training, experience, what is?
Lots of training for our staff. I think a lot of people that you would interact with in hospice would say they're called to this. It's almost like a spiritual calling or in ministry for them.
Yep.
But I think you're not in it very long before you know this is right or this is not right for me.
Right.
No.
But we have very little turnover in our staff, so those who come really know that this is the kind of work that they want to do. We have over 500 volunteers as well who go through about 9 hours or more of training, and they provide respite for patients, they read to patients, just a lot of different kinds of things that they can do with patients as well. We have vets in our program. So if we have a volunteer who's a vet who goes in to spend time with veterans, they sometimes share things with them that they wouldn't share with anybody else, even in their families. So it's a special service that we have in that way.
So the veterans, you have vets that volunteer?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're listening...
Could use even more.
Yeah, if you're listening or you know someone or you yourself want to help out, you can volunteer to do exactly what Gloria said, which was read, do other things, and if you're a vet, you can volunteer as well to help a lot of other vets. How does someone go about, inquiring in about volunteering? 'Cause you said you have over 500 volunteers.
Right. Well, you can go to our Allina Health website in the hospice area, and there's information there about how you can get hold of us to volunteer.
So we'll put a link to that on the Facebook Stockwell Roche Show and on tcrealestatehour.com website, tcrealestatehour.com. And you can always call us if you have questions as well here at the show, 651-400-0773, 651-400-0773. And if you are looking to volunteer, there's so many great organizations here in Minnesota we talk about all the time to help those in need, whether they're young, old, whatever the situation is. Get out there and help out if you can and have the resources and the time to do that. So Gloria will be back more with Gloria Cade, Hospice and Palliative Care at Allina Health.
We're talking about dragonflies too, right?
And we're going to be back talking about dragonflies for a very, very special event. And that sounds like a fun time for a good cause. So we'll be back soon. You're listening to the Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Josh Roche, Remax Results.
Stay tuned.
I'm gonna give